So I've got one of my oldest friends with me. I've known her for about a decade, I want to say, a little bit more. We've worked together, traveled together, we've shared a lot together, and we've also experienced a lot of similar issues, struggles, and navigated similar things in our upbringings, which has brought us closer. So I'll get her to introduce herself and we'll go from there.
Hello everyone, my name is Charmaign. I work in a banking industry at the moment. I've been there for quite a long time actually. A bit about me, I am an animal lover. I love animals. I love nature as well, so I love being outdoors, so like beaches or really enjoying nature pretty much. On the side as well, I do like creative stuff too. Yeah, that's a bit about me.
Yeah. So with us, there's two main themes I want to get through in our conversation today. I want to go through in our conversation. One being obviously us growing up in a single parent household. And the second one being both of us have had to move overseas while we've transitioned into a single parent household as well. So it's two completely different things. There's the struggles of cultural shifts, navigating life in a new country, everything else that we've been through, but also the whole change in the family dynamic and how we've had to adjust to not one set of struggles, but two set of struggles without a roadmap. And I want to start there. And if you want to talk about that, growing up, what it was like to go through those two significant things and how it shaped you, what mistakes you might have made along the way that you felt like were learning curves, things like that.
Yeah. All right. So I guess I'll start off with growing up. So growing up, I grew up with my grandparents. My parents weren't around as much, being a typical Asian household, so they were always working, not only to provide for us, but also for their families. So I was quite close to my grandparents. And like you mentioned, eventually we did end up moving to Australia in 2001. And that was a big, I guess a huge difference for us, not just in terms of, the cultural shock, difference in living and then having to start life again in a different country. I guess moving to Australia, I had to navigate through life and really pick up. I could still speak basic English, but something I had to learn moving here as well. So I think moving here already, it made my confidence lower, just because you meet new people. I wasn't confident in speaking English.
You're thrown into a whole new normal.
Exactly, different crowds. So I had to, it's like relearning life, I suppose, again. That's okay, we got there, right?
Yeah.
Not long after my parents separated.
Yeah.
So I guess that was another thing that we had to learn as well, not having both your parents. I think moving to Australia, it didn't feel like a household I was used to. Being around my grandparents, who were always there.
Your safety net from under you was basically removed in every way possible. Yeah.
Yeah. So having a single parent, so I was living with my mum, I'm living with my mum as well as my two sisters.
Yeah.
It's great. My mum's, she's the sole provider and she works really hard to make sure that we have the life that, we could live the life that she never really got. But it also meant that I didn't really get the benefit or full support having to grow up. But I think that really made me a stronger person and work harder to get to where I am now. I suppose not having a father figure made a difference in life. I feel like everyone should have the father figure, but unfortunately or fortunately, not everyone has that.
Yeah.
Because
I think you have, the father figure that is the provider and the mother figure that's the nurturer. And so when you transition your family unit into a single family unit, it's very different because the mum has to take on the role of the provider. So that nurturing can be missing sometimes. And it's not because it's their fault, it's just how it is. And so that means there are some things where we've had to step into parental roles for ourselves. So we've had to hold ourselves accountable, learn from our own mistakes, not have a roadmap in terms of what's right, what's wrong, what to do, what not to do in certain things, you know?
Yeah.
So that's definitely, something that we've had to navigate for sure. That's been a struggle.
I think, not having both parents show you what love is, or in a typical Asian household as well, you don't really get that kind of parent relationship where they're open with their feelings, where they talk about their feelings, and all that stuff. So I think that led me to, I guess, relationships that were toxic or not healthy at all. And I mean, I learned my lesson along the way. It took me a long time to get out of it, but I guess coming from a single household, I never really got to experience what unconditional love is. And I think that made me really made the wrong or poor decisions in life.
I think that comes from even not being able to see growing up, especially in your teenage years and the years that shape you and who you are, seeing the dynamic of unconditional love in like a marriage and an example. And so that runs the risk of falling into the category of conditional love, where we accept the love we think we deserve and we work towards, if I do this much, maybe someone will love me. And unlearning that and attachment styles and things like that is a whole other ball game. And we're in a place now where I feel like people are more aware of it, people learn, but obviously when we were growing up, we had limited resources in that department.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from those experiences, I feel like I've come a long way to really understand how I am as a person, become a really, really stronger person than I used to be. Be able to love myself.
Which is so important.
Absolutely. Because it's not easy, having to battle those experiences. It takes a lot of time.
A lot of strength, a lot of time. I think that's so important, like self-love. We talk about it and we see it everywhere, but what does that entail? It's like putting yourself first repeatedly. And when you come from the households that we come from, where everyone pitches in to help each other and do what you got to do in order to survive, it is very hard to learn to put yourself first in a way where you don't feel like you're being selfish. And I think that's the hardest lesson, right? That's been one of the hardest battles to overcome and to learn. And there's so much more to it than what meets the eye.
100%.
Obviously, the whole art of learning self-love and everything else is a journey in itself. And on that note, my last question to you would be, what would be your advice to any of the audience watching it that have gone through the experiences that we have, whether it be navigating moving to a different country and restarting your life, or whether it be your family dynamic changing or whatever that may be? What's one thing that you feel like that has really helped you and really stuck with you, one piece of advice that you would want to give someone else going through what you're going through, or your younger self rather, that didn't have the roadmap to get to where you are today?
My advice would be to trust yourself. Be confident, and you're not alone. I was trying so hard to, I hid all my emotions. I tried to solve my own problems by myself. So I felt, you kind of feel isolated and alone. But sometimes you just need, someone's help.
And that's okay.
To get you through it. And that's okay. And I guess to trust yourself and be confident is most important as well. No matter what you've been through, it is a learning experience. And, your experience shapes you as a person, and you become a much better person because you learn from it. That's probably what my advice is.
That's definitely something that's really important for us to carry with us, and being kind to ourselves as well, which I think is really important. Thank you so much for your time, for your advice, and for sharing your story. It's never easy and it takes a lot of courage, so I appreciate it very, very much. So thank you.